Hey, what's up guys, it's Theo from Concept. So I know we've created a bunch of images on text effect, especially on this channel, but this time around is a little bit different. Today we are going to create this birthday design in Adobe Photoshop. So let's just get started. Welcome to Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up our application. For this tutorial, as always, I'm using Photoshop CC 2019, and I'll go ahead and create a new document. Working on latest version of Photoshop should work just fine. Alright, so my width and height, as always, I'm leaving them as 2K, so exactly the same thing in case I want to put it on Instagram or WhatsApp, DP, or anything of that sort. This is the image I'm going to be using, so as you have already seen in the intro, I'm just going to open this up in Photoshop. So right click, open in Photoshop. Now what I'm going to do is I'll just use the quick selection tool because my background is more blurred out. Using the quick selection tool is going to be a lot quicker, just creating the selection around the subject like so. I recommend you use the pen tool, but like I said, since the background is already out of focus, I can just use the quick selection tool. Now anytime you make a mistake or you create a selection and you want to take out some portions, under normal circumstance you have to move up here towards the top left and click on the minus icon, but once you are in the plus icon, you can just hold down the Alt key. I should probably increase the size of my selection tool. Just hold down the Alt key and it changes to a minus, and you can just unselect those portions. So that's what I'm just doing from here. So once I have my selection, I'll just right click and go to layer via copy. You can also use layer via cut if you want, and you notice that a new layer is actually created at the top here. So if I move this about, you can see that we have that selection. Now this is what we want. So what I'll do is I'll just click and drag and drop it in here like so. Now this is quite huge, so before I even reduce the size and lose quality, I'm actually going to right click on the image itself and go to convert to smart object. Now once I've done that, I can now resize, and I'm not going to lose as much detail as I would have. So there are a bunch of other things I want to add in there, but the first I want to grab is the splatter. So I don't know if I can leave a link in the description below afterwards, but I'll try and leave a few of them in the description below so that those of you who are interested, especially for this one, they can also follow along if you want. I have actually used this background once and it's looked amazing, but today let's just go with this. We might come back to that later on. So I'll just click and drag and drop it into Photoshop like so, and make sure it is filling up my entire screen like this. Now I want to actually isolate the black portions from the white, and since we have this icon here, it means it is a smart object. You can see they have the exact same thing for the layer we just made a smart object. So what I'll do is I'll just right click and go to rasterize layer. This is going to make it a flattened image, and I'll just grab the magic wand because I'm selecting a specific color, so that is white. So using the magic wand is going to be a lot easier, and I just hit delete on my keyboard and it just deletes all those portions with the white. I'll click and drag and drop this at the bottom and probably position this, I think somewhere around here. Looks awesome. Alright, so this is looking cool already. Now the birthday is actually supposed to be on the 24th of November, but it's far past. Yeah, so let's just go with that. So I'm just going to type in 24 and make it as huge as possible. The font I'm going with is Gotham. I wish I was using kilogram, but I haven't downloaded that font yet. So if you want to try something else, you can always use a kilogram font. Kilogram like kilometers, yeah, kilogram. So I'll increase the size to about this big. I think that is looking huge enough for me. This is looking cool. So I'll highlight these two and I'll go into window and make sure that character is checked. Now I want to make it a definite number, so let's say 300 points. So I'll go into window and I'll click on character. Now once I'm in the character options, this slider is what I'm going to be using. So we have VA. This allows me to change the position of individual text or character in them. So what I'm going to do is actually reduce it so that they are a bit closer. I think -200 should be just fine. And I'm also going to stretch out the font so you can see from the bottom here to the top here. I want to make it much taller. So that is going to be over here, and I'm going to increase it, I think about let's try 150 to see how it looks like. That is a little bit too much. Let's try 120%. Okay, I think 110 should just be enough, and I'll place that over here like so. So yeah, I think this is looking awesome already. So let's just, you know what, I think I'll rather increase the spacing just by a little bit. So instead of -200, I'll make it -150. And you don't even have to put them together. I mean, I can always just separate them, and it's going to make it a lot easier. I think we should probably do that. So Control R to bring up your rulers, and I'll click from the edge and place it at the center like so. And I'll click from the top and place it not at the center. I think somewhere around here should be fine, so that I can place my text on top. So I'll cut this out, right click, go to cut, and I'll place this somewhere around here. So let's paste it in here, Control V, and I'll place this somewhere around here. So what I've done now is I have the ability to move individual text as and when I feel appropriate. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to have this image on top, but before that I'm going to create a layer mask without moving this. So let's call this main image. So I'm going to create a duplicate, so Control J, or just click and drag and drop on the second icon from the right. It's going to create another image. Let's call this you know, or let's leave it as that. The main image copy, I'll put that on top of number 2, and I'm also going to create another duplicate, but before that let's clip this to that. So what that is going to do is the main image is only going to show where this number 2 text is. So right click and go to create clipping mask. We should find it somewhere here, and that is it. You probably didn't see it happening because this image is still there. So if I take it out, you can see that this image is only showing where the number 2 text is. So if I go ahead and move the image around, you can see that it is only being affected around that area. This is awesome. So let me zoom out a little bit, and we'll be doing the exact same thing for number 4. So Control J, bring that on top, create clipping mask, or just use Alt and just click in between the 2 texts. It's basically going to give you the exact same effect. So I'll turn this off for a second so that I can see what I'm doing here. You know what, I think I'll change the color of the font. Black and white is making it quite difficult to see which is different from which, and I'll probably just turn off the background for a second, just for a second. So I'll go ahead and select the brush tool, and I'll create a layer mask for that. So what I want to do is I want to fade in certain portions so that the number 2 will only be showing. So with the layer mask selected, not the image, the layer mask selected, grab the black foreground and just brush in there like so. This is going to hide all those portions. Now I'm only focusing on this area. If I move towards the hand is also going to go away, and I don't want that. So I'll just leave it as that for this area. So I think for that is okay. Now let's bring back our image. Alright, so this is what we have. Everything is looking quite perfect already. So what I'm going to do is, since this is on top of number 4 and this is on top of number 2, they are only showing at those areas, I want to take away certain portions of the main image. So with the main image selected, go into rectangular marquee tool and create a selection around that area, because I just need the bottom. Now I'll grab the brush tool and I'll make sure that the foreground color is set to black So black will be hiding those portions, white is going to be revealing. I don't even have to go through that because it's just a layer, so I can just create a layer mask and it's just going to affect that area. Now you can see that we have black with a white rectangle in there. We actually want to flip it around. We want white with a black rectangle. So hold down the control key and press I. This is going to invert your selection, and we have something like this. Now I can use the move to V on your keyboard to just take away all these portions. So if I go ahead and select all these, so control G to group them up, I can position it wherever I want. Yeah, I think now would be the best time to change the color of the text. So I'll be going with let me bring back the background so that I can have a fair idea of which color to use. Probably let's just sample from her dress, or let's just go in all white. I think we'll go with all white, and I'll do the exact same thing for this. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be using this as much, so what I'll do is I'll just reduce the opacity to about 20%, and that will look cool. Now let's save this one more time. So what I'll do is I'll select a nice looking color, probably this orange from her dress, and I'll select the background so that whatever I create will be on top of the background. And I'll go into the adjustment panel, which is the middle icon, and click on gradient. So I'll select the gradient option from here, and I'll select the first preset, which is foreground to background. So the foreground color is the orange or brown I chose, and the background color is white. In case you are interested in using this exact same brown color, is B26032, and I'll just click on OK. Now I'm going to change the style to radial, of course, and reverse it so it shows up somewhere around here, and I can increase or decrease the scale. So I think 100 should be just fine. 100 looks good for me, so that is what I'm going with. Now do you see this area over here? That is because I made a mistake whilst creating this selection, so I'll create it one more time. I'll correct it and just delete those area away. So this is looking much better. And I also don't like the black, I prefer it to be white. So with the black splatter still active, I'll go into FX and click on color overlay. I want to put a color on top of it, so make sure that the blend mode is set to normal, and I'll just select a white color from there, and it's just going to overlay that color. So let me call this, I prefer to type in caps. So this is looking much better, but we are not done. We can just add in the last few text that is going to be still highlighted. That is going to be November. The text is still set to 300, so it's quite huge. Let me make it much smaller, and I can't see because it is beside, no, it is behind the images. I have to actually click and put it on top to be able to see. So I'll go into the character and make sure everything is set to 0 or auto. Alright, now this is looking much better. So if you have any other thing, you can just add it in there, but I think I'll leave it where it is at the moment. I'm pretty satisfied with this. As always, the PSD template is going to be linked below, so be sure to check it out. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like to watch more of our videos, hit that subscribe button, and as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Final Concept, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.